There's a lot going on. This scene is cacophonous. It is almost too much, and this crowd is too loud with their shouts of Hosanna. So let's slow down. Let's be careful. Let's look and see. The first thing, Jerusalem is the capital of a territory that is under occupation. It's been under occupation for a long time. Different empires have paraded through claiming to own this space, claiming to rule over it to different degrees, at different times, in different ways. But right now, it is the Romans. It is their soldiers who are in the streets. It is their taxes that the people have to pay. It is their emperor's face that is on the coins with which those taxes are paid. It is their governor who tells the people what to do and how to live. It is the Romans who have even encroached on the sanctity of the temple. And the people remember. The people have heard stories about when they were free, about when there was no empire ruling over them, about when they had their own country, their own land of milk and honey, their own lives that they could lead without being told by some emperor in Rome what to do. Second thing, it is almost Passover, that time when the people remember that once they were slaves in Egypt. Slaves in a different empire, living in a foreign land as aliens. And they remember that when they cried out, their God heard them. God heard the cries of the afflicted. And God raised up a hero. And God afflicted the comfortable who ruled over them, sent plagues, sent disasters, and had that hero lead the people out of Egypt into the wilderness and to this land of milk and honey, where they were to be free, worshiping God as God told them to worship, serving God as God told them to serve. And there are more than a few who are thinking that could happen again. God might just raise up a hero. God just might raise up a savior. God just might raise up a leader who can overthrow these Romans and free them, so that they can live again as God has called them to live. And the people know this, and the Romans know this. And in this moment, on this day, right now, right here, there is a powder keg. And all it will take is a spark. Third thing, Jesus knows exactly what he is doing. There is a prophecy. There is a prophecy about a Messiah, a prophecy about a Christ, a prophecy about an anointed one who will ride into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey, and the people will celebrate, and he will overthrow the empire. He will overthrow the powers of this world. He will overthrow the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less, and the people will be free to live as God has called them to live. Jesus knows exactly what he is doing, and now in this moment, as he enacts this prophecy, on purpose. This is not a coincidence. This is not something that just kind of happened by chance. On purpose, having told his disciples to go and steal a donkey so that he could ride into town on it. Right now, Jesus is riding into town on the back of a donkey, fulfilling this prophecy in the sight of everyone, to the shouts from the crowd of Hosanna. And it could go either way. Look, I don't for a moment believe that Jesus came into the world simply to die. That cheapens everything that he did. He lived. He taught. He healed. He preached. He ate with people. He drank with people. With Pharisees and with tax collectors, with saints and with sinners. He built a community. I have to believe that there is the possibility that that could have continued. That Jesus could have led the people. If only... If only the people had been able to listen, if only the people had the courage to stand up to that empire, if only the people had the bravery required to stand up to the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less. And I'm going to be honest, that's a big ask, that's a heavy lift, that is a hard thing to do. So Jesus has to know, as he rides into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey to the shouts of Hosanna, that there is a very good chance that he is not getting out of this week alive. The Romans are not going to be happy. The religious authorities who have made a kind of tense peace, a kind of okay collaboration, a kind of let's go along to get along sort of thing with the Romans, are not going to be happy. They've all settled into a kind of homeostasis, a kind of weird balance that is not just and is not fair and is not good, but at least is what they know. Jesus has to know that as he rides into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey, as he enacts this prophecy, and as he starts preaching here, in this locus of power, the wrong people are going to get upset. Things are going to turn. That crowd that shouted Hosanna might not be there later. That the length between the shout of Hosanna and the saying, "Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord," might start to get a little longer, a little harder. That folks might start looking at Jesus and saying, I don't know if I want to be associated quite so strongly with him. Things are, after all, not going great. Maybe it would be safer if I kept my mouth shut. Maybe it would be safer if I whispered. Maybe it would be safer if I were quiet. Because then at least I won't end up in front of Pilate. At least then I won't end up carrying a cross. At least then I won't end up hung on a cross. At least I won't end up in a tomb. We are entering Holy Week. Holy Week starts with Palm Sunday, this day when we celebrate, when we wave palms, when we shout Hosanna. when we celebrate the triumphant entry of our Savior. And it will end next Sunday with Easter, when Christ will step out of a tomb, when Christ will have defeated the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less, when Christ will invite us fully and completely into new and abundant life. But between Palm Sunday and Easter is a bunch of trouble. And Jesus knows, he has to know, that while there is a chance that everything could be okay, there is a strong possibility that trouble is going to find him, that trouble is going to get him. Let's make that harder, shall we? Jesus' call to us, Christ's call to us, is to not be satisfied with Palm Sunday and shouts of Hosanna, or even to be satisfied with Easter and coming out of the tomb. Christ's call to us is to follow him, to walk into that town right behind him, to march through Jerusalem with him, to afflict the comfortable as he does, to comfort the afflicted as he does, to take the risks as he does for those who need risks taken for them. And let's be honest, our shouts of Hosanna are kind of hollow if we don't do that, if we don't walk that road, if we don't find that trouble, if we don't make good trouble, if we don't stand up for those who need someone to stand up for them, if we don't speak up for those who need someone to speak up for them, if we don't go into temples and throw tables over, if we don't do the work of following Christ. That is what we are called to. And it is hard. It is dangerous. There is a very real chance that we will not get out of this alive. It is a hard road we are asked to walk down. But there is this. Later in this week, Christ is going to gather with his disciples and say words that we recite every first Sunday and on special holidays, and that we could recite every Sunday, that we could recite every day. This is my body, broken for you. Eat of it in remembrance of me. This is the new covenant in my blood poured out for you. Drink this in remembrance of me. Let it fuel you. Let it be part of you. Because every day, Jesus is the bread that we take on the road. Jesus is the bread for this journey. Jesus is the one who feeds us as we follow him, even when we follow him into trouble, even when we follow him into suffering, even when we follow him into risk-taking, even as we follow him into things that are wild and dangerous and, yes, full of grace for us, for others, for everyone. And we do that in confidence. Not in quiet confidence, in the kind of confidence where we stand and we shout, Hosanna. In the kind of confidence where we hear others shout, Hosanna. In the kind of confidence where we raise our voices as loudly as we can, all together shouting, Hosanna. So that everyone can hear, so that everyone can join in, so that everyone can be part of this thing. We do this in confidence because we are confident that at the end, On the other side of all of this suffering, on the other side of all of this trouble, on the other side of all of this danger, is an empty tomb. It may at times look like we are not going to get out of this alive. It may at times seem like we have to go through crosses and graves, and indeed we may have to. But the promise at the end is life, abundant life, real, true life, the kind of life you get to lead when the empire has been defeated, when the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less are no more, when we can live as God has been calling us to live since the beginning, in a reign of love that fills all of the earth and more. So let us shout with confidence, Hosanna!
Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord.
Let us live with confidence. As followers of Christ, let us go with confidence to fill this world with love, no matter what that might bring in the short term, knowing that for eternity, we and everyone and everything will end abiding in God, living lives of love. And that will be a wonderful thing. That is good news.